I don't see a record. Oh, there. Welcome everybody to tonight's call. Thank you for showing up and being radical and wanting to play on the edge of the precipice. And what would be better than being on the edge, because either you step and fly or it's all over. But we want to teach you how to fly. So welcome tonight. It's been an interesting day. I've had churning in my gut all day, which is unusual for me. So lots of energy. But when I describe this and why I want people to come and join us is that I tell people it's such a luscious thing to experience, of being in a group of like-minded people that's connected to the heart of Mother Earth, and the feeling of being one in that sacred connection to the divine, Mother Earth and Divine Mother, is so luscious. Even if you don't have anything to say, just come and bask in that energy with us. Just come and experience what it is to have an experience of group coherence, to be one with everybody on the call, and how powerful that is, and how much we yearn for that, especially in this COVID-19 of, social distancing and all that. I won't say the magic words, all that BS, that we really, really are needing some big hugs. And this is a way to hug each other energetically beyond even the physical. It is really so powerful to be in the same place with like-minded people. So I really welcome everybody who's joining us tonight, and everybody that comes on after the fact and watches this, in whatever form, whether it's as a podcast or whether it's on YouTube. But if you really want to have the experience, you got to show up in person, which is usually the way it is. Somebody's got to show up in order to experience the full body enlightenment right here, right now. So welcome to tonight's call. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. I have a feeling we're going to get into dowsing and all sorts of things that we haven't touched before. So let's open the door, and let's open Pandora's box. And Shelley, why don't you do a prayer?
Well, welcome everyone, and welcome to the connection field. Just taking a breath, and I actually have a beautiful prayer done by a grandmother that showed up in the field, in the connection field today. And for those of you that are just coming in and learning about go to the whole and the connection field, it's exactly what Tyhson was just sharing, the space of, I loved how you put it, that just big hug, where that sensation of coming home and feeling valued and feeling connected, and allowing what the designing intelligence of the field has in store for us. So what's really beautiful is, yes, we could plan this whole evening, but there is this, it's a space of grace. It's a space where we listen, we trust, and we allow this whole world view to take form, which allows us to relax in our bodies and just have fun, and be
guided.
And be guided, and be totally guided. Yeah, thank you, Tyhson. Exactly. So specifically the connection field, you can go find out more by going to gotothewhole.org, and you can receive this beautiful digest. It's going to now start coming out at least 2 times a week, and offerings like this, Radical Heart Resonance, tomorrow night, the Healing Field, We Are a Rising Tide, everything that we need to really deepen our relationship, our sacred relationship with the Mother, with Earth. And also, if you look behind Tyhson, you're going to see that beautiful cosmic background behind him, which we have to be inclusive of this aspect of life, this relationship to, as Charlie would say, the galactics or the star nation. So we hold that in the field as well tonight. So before we share with each other and open up this call fully, I'm going to share something with you, and this is a beautiful happening that happened completely spontaneously today inside of the connection field. And I'm not going to say any more. Just take a moment, keep your eyes open, and your heart open. We'll be right there. And invite everyone to put yourselves on mute, okay? Otherwise, oh no, it'll still work actually.
You need to unmute, Shelley.
No, you know what? Hold on one second. I forgot to do something. Hold on. Sorry, bear with me. I did forget to do something. I'm going to stop the share for a second. And I unmute myself. You're right. I told people to mute, but that wasn't it. It was actually to get a better sound. I need to just click these two little boxes at the bottom, and I totally forgot. So here we go.
2009 with everybody in the Grand Canyon in Mount Shasta with Mr. Monzo and many great peace honor people, medicine man, and we do a lot of ceremony in 41 days all together for the great inner peace. And from me, I'm from the north, so I'm the eagle. I would like to say Kwe, everybody, it's time for the unification. Everybody has to be in the heart. And I want to say thank you for all the women get birth today for the new world, the eighth fire. It's lit right now with all people around the world in the same heart, in the same land, and the same mother. So for the song, I take a water here, and I'm gonna bless the water because the water is the womb who get birth all the mans. It's our responsibility, the woman, to take care of those mans. It's the planet around, the emotion around, the nest of all the birds around, the water when it's go down, it's round. The tears, it's round. So it's mean we are all together forever. We've never been separate. It was an illusion to think that. We are one. We are one. United by the water. The water is the blood of the Mother Earth we have. And the sacred woman carry that. So I don't have my shaker, but I do it anyway. I ask to my, take a breath. And we sing that song for the fourth direction. We start at the east. Nibi wabo endaya. Akinis kwinibi wabo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Now we go at the south to share all that sacred water. Nibi wabo endaya. Akinis kwinibi wabu. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Now for the people for the west. Nibi wabo endaya. Akinis kwinibiwabo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Now for the north, for the wisdom, white buffalo, all the people. Nibi wabo endaya. Akinis kwinibi wabo. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, ho. Hakuna Matata, for all love, one mind. Sacred woman, we love you all. Miigwech, Manamaste, Alegria, Shalom, Kwe, Walihin. For all nation, we are one. Matakweasan.
Beautiful infusion into the field, into that state of one humanity, and inclusive of everything that's moving. The water surrounds and envelops all of the land. And I think what was coming to me tonight in terms of things that have been shared today is doing sort of embracing the emotional body of the earth as a whole being. So that's included of the more than just the discordance, but it's inclusive of the pain that's still within the mother, that's carried within the womb waters, that's carried within each one of us, in regards to some aspect of betrayal, ultimately. And Deb and I were talking a little bit today, and I spent a lot of time online today with a lot of Indigenous people and hearing a lot of story. And Kate, I think you're going to love this and jump in, because this is where the healing takes place on a particular level, like where, you know, a lot of that fear of trusting one another, that fear of being betrayed, you know, when we take it back thousands of years with going back to the Native Americans and their lands being taken, promises that were made that were never kept, everything, water's polluted, the taking of, you know, the fracking. I mean, there's so much within that emotional body of the earth and in the emotional body of within us. And we know that it begins within us. And I had my own year-long journey around betrayal, but I feel like it's sitting in the air. And so Tyson, I was thinking, even working with, I'm blanking out right now, but Emily, I mean, no, Amy, you're on mute.
Amy Joellis of the Court of Atonement.
Yeah, the Court of Atonement. So I think that's, I mean, I think once we open up and let's just open the field for what is sitting here, so that we as really love and light workers, really, that we allow it to come out, or whatever wants to move in us. And so we can start with the cord of atonement after everyone shares, and just let's let it bubble up. I mean, we've all been in the field, and I know Kate's been in the field today, where she read this amazing letter from this Indigenous grandmother that she's close to, and her kind of upset at, even going out and doing these ceremonies on Facebook. And really, how do we, tonight, like, how do we be with this evolutionary shift that's happening, and this need to come together as one humanity, and I think, but it's interesting because Deb brought up this betrayal that has been sitting in our bodies, and as a collective, as clans, as tribes, and so I feel like this is the way in. And even doing some dowsing, listening for where our attention is being called. And maybe, Tyson, we can do a group protocol, and even go to your mountain, start there, and give people an experience of and have everyone participate in whatever way comes to them in this growing luminosity of love that can support the healing of support the healing, and allow for that deeper integration. So I'm going to just leave it there with my voice, and maybe let's just open it up, Tyson, and let everyone share what's moving for them. And it doesn't have to be exactly this. It might be something else. But I have a sense, when grandmother Madeline was singing, and I'll tell more about what's going to unfold in the connection field with her, because that was an amazing moment. I guess I'll just share this one other piece. What was happening was, right before she popped on, the reason she sang that song to open the directions is that two young girls, one 3, Meadow, and her sister, I'm guessing she's about 7 or 8, Hannah Ray, came on with their drum. They've just we discovered they moved to Florida about a half hour from me. And they wanted to sing the song, and they started drumming the song. And so we had 3 generations on this call this morning. And it was phenomenal, just the love and the willingness to show up with all that is. So with that, that's enough. And I think, there's keep your share to, 2 to 3 minutes, or, and just let's allow what needs to bubble up through us as an expression of the mother, the earth, and all of her beautiful elements, that's, all that burning energy, and let's bring some loving water to it. So I'm complete. I said, Tyson, feel free to pop in wherever you feel like it as well.
Yeah, the day has really been a day of recognizing that we are, we've said this has been said many times before, but we are a spirit experiencing an incarnation on a planet that exists in polarity. And so in this incarnation, we're learning how to deal with polarity. And we want to judge it. We want to put a label on it. We want to put a value judgment on that white is good and black is dark, and it must be therefore bad. Or that there's the forces of evil or the cabal that's causing what's happening on this planet, and there's those that are striving for the light. And therefore somebody's bad and somebody's good. And when we do that, we're on this checkerboard of light and dark. And if we insist on playing this game, there's always a winner and always a loser. And I think what we're really being taught is that, yes, we need to know that there is a game of light and dark, but there's a level of awareness beyond being a judge of the good or the bad. That they're all equal players, whether they have a white cowboy hat or a black cowboy hat. They're all here to awaken us to our own sovereignty, to our own truth. And I came to me this vision of remembering of traveling with a First Nations person, and we had come from a council in which the environmentalists and the government and all the stakeholders in forestry and water carriers and First Nations and all the different stakeholders had come together in the northern part of British Columbia. I was working for the government of British Columbia. I was actually chairing the meeting to come to some resolution, some common good or common agreement about how to move forward, like which lands would be logged, which would be protected, which would be parks, which would be whatever. And after this meeting, everybody had dissipated, and this First Nation person said, "Travel with me back to Prince George." And I said, "Sure." So we jumped in this pickup truck. And these two grown men are going up the highway towards Prince George. And we're talking about the dogs that we had in our life. And he starts talking about his favorite dog and how it's passed on. And I'm talking about mine. And we're bawling. Two grown men in a pickup truck, traveling up the highway, bawling our eyes out, remembering these amazing dogs that we had in our life, which were like our gurus, like our teachers. And out of the woods, right beside the road, came a white wolf and a black wolf. And they just sat on, I'm going to cry. They just sat on the edge of the road and sat there as the truck went by. And we turned to each other and we were just dumbfounded. Did you see that? Did you see that? And it was such a gift from nature saying, stop judging good and bad, We can coexist as white and dark. We can live together as one. And so this memory came back to me of that powerful, powerful experience from two wolves that came out in nature to meet us as part of the species of the dog kingdom about, yes, we understand your love for the animals, for our lineage to the domestic dog, and how powerful that union is between us and you. And yes, there is no good and bad. There is nobody around that table that needs to win in order for somebody to lose. There's another level that we can get to where we're all equal. And as she said in her prayers, we're all one. And anything other than that is a pure illusion. But that's my story.
Clover Kate will pick up the talking feather just briefly. Say, yeah, it's always those confirmations from nature that really drive the lessons home. I'm sure we've all had experiences where Mother Nature shows us where, lots of times if I have a question, I go sit by a tree and somehow, there's just a sign, if you will. And of course, I know that's really interpersonal and it all looks different for each of us. But I call it how we tap into the soul of the world. And I think you're with an audience now who recognizes this polarity and dualistic thinking and have really worked hard to try to see things through the Trinity eye, to be able to see both points of view, but recognize that, yeah, we've got to come to some kind of resolutions. And with that, I want to hear from everyone else. That's
I'll just say, welcome, Linda. This is perfect. So just breathe this in. It's perfect that you showed up for this moment. So we're just, people are just sharing, and then we'll tie it back in.
Hi, I'm Deborah. I'm in California. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. And probably like 77 degrees, which is really warm for us. And we got the message yesterday that our governor has decided we will have another whole month of being sheltered in place. So that was kind of a lot of, you know, when you hear other states being set free, so to speak, Georgia and South Carolina, you're like, we have another month. Anyway, in feng shui, which is what I'm all about, being a feng shui master, there's a way to measure energy, and it's called the bagua. And there's 9 guas, and in the center gua is the Tai Chi, which is black and white. And many people talk about them being 2 fish swimming. The black one has a white eyeball, and the white fish has a black eyeball. And the thing that pops in my head to share about tonight is that it's about finding balance constantly. And the black fish may get a little bit bigger, or the white fish gets a little smaller, or the black eye of the white fish gets a little bigger, and the black fish with the white eye gets a little bit smaller. And so in feng shui, it's the center where the Tai Chi is considered balance, and how to keep our lives in balance, our homes in balance, our structures in balance, our yards in balance. It's all about being in balance. So it isn't so much about white or black being good or bad. It's about keeping the harmony between the two and recognizing that everything has a polar opposite to it, whether it's hot and cold, or short and tall, and thin or fat, that there is this constant balancing that's going on. And it isn't that one is right or wrong. And as Buddha said, many other people, wise people said, it's the middle way. But the white and the black can be also kind of a sign for us to see whether we're in balance, whether we're in harmony, whether we're keeping ourselves in harmony. And I just was reading the book by, I think it's John Milner, is that his name? And the laws of, oh, it's right here, I can grab it a second. It's Dan Millman, The Laws of Spirit. And the very first law is about finding balance and looking at our lives to see whether we're in balance and where we're out of balance. So when I hear about this black and white, that's what immediately comes to my mind, is finding the balance. What's the balance? And clearly, there isn't any balance right now, with some states being, you know, everybody's supposed to still stay in their shelter in place, and other states are being given freedom, and we're doing all these crazy things. We have chemtrails that I see every day here, which I can't quite understand why we're doing that. So, and then you turn around and have somebody do something good and positive, like make a mask for someone. So I think it's a whole mix that's going on, that's constant, black and white and changing, and finding the balance and keeping the balance for ourselves is what feels super important. I'm done. Thank you.
Welcome, Henry. So we just invite you to feel into the energy, and we'll weave you in. But we're just sharing now. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to say something.
Deborah, it feels like you're describing a dynamic equilibrium, which is a concept that's kind of been brought up several times in this field in different ways in the last week. The other thing I need to, or just feel compelled that you're still seeing chemtrails there. You know, I'm in rural South Dakota, and I was, thinking I saw chemtrails, and of course everyone says no, no, no. But indeed, even though the skies are clear the other day, I saw this low-flying plane with, So yeah, I wonder why they're doing that too. That was a quick rebuttal.
Yeah, I think this all started with, if I remember correctly, talking about betrayal and who betrayed who and who's being betrayed now, and whether we betrayed the First Nations or whether we're being betrayed by our government, or or whether we're betraying ourselves, and who have we betrayed in our lifetimes and past lifetimes. So I think that we're in a time of forgiveness, of just really learning how to forgive ourselves for all of what ways we may have showed up and messed up. And in the process, maybe we can forgive all those that are in the process of waking up and doing really crazy things on this planet that I never thought anybody would be so crazy to do, whether it be chemtrails or glyphosates in the food, or fluoride in the water, or or GMO food, or it is crazy. We live in a crazy planet right now. But the one common theme that seems to be running through even those that are waking us up about what is happening on this planet, they always end up with a good news story. There's behind all this a feeling that we're about on the precipice, on that edge of the cliff that we talked about, to something so magnificent, so new, so awe-inspiring that we can't even grasp it, even though it seems like for some of us, we're really stepping into hell, or we're experiencing the craziness of a planet that way of life that we knew before is disintegrating. Not that I'm not in favor, because there wasn't much of the way that it was that I'd want to keep if we come out of this lockdown. But that being said, betrayal was sort of the theme. So, I spent the whole morning with my coach on that whole term of betrayal and abandonment, of letting go of why I felt abandoned, and coming to the realization that on the higher part of myself, that wu wei that you're talking about, which is beyond the yin and the yang, and that balance, I can't be betrayed. It's impossible to be betrayed. That it's an illusion. That it's only my human mind consciousness that has fear, doubt, shame, and guilt that could possibly feel us to be betrayed. So do I want to stay in betrayal? Do I want to stay in fear? Do I want to stay in shame or guilt or anger or resentment? Or do I want to get to that point of what we're talking about here, beyond the yin and beyond the yang, and in the Tao or the Wu Wei, where it becomes effortless? We haven't abandoned the world. We just see the world for what it is, and we're not pulled by the yin or the yang. Now, can I stay there for any length of time? Probably not. Can I do it for 1 or 2 breaths? Yeah. And my coach had me there for a good 20 minutes, and I got to say, it was so luxurious to be in that infinite grace, where there was nothing to do and nowhere to go, where everything was abundantly clear and everything was present, and there was total absolute abundance, and everything was possible. And I prayed for that for everyone. I believe that's the world that we can step into. So that's what I'm voting for.
You want to jump in, Karen?
I was just saying, me too. I've gone back and forth in my life, but I've learned, I guess I don't really do a lot of the betrayal anymore. It used to be a big theme for me, but after you go through some of the things I've been through, and experience some of the things I've experienced and been led to some of the things I've been led to. And I'll bring up the books that I've mentioned several times that got me beyond, not just forgiveness, but beyond forgiveness, to even gratitude for those people in my life that could be looked at as people who betrayed or harmed me in some way, because they're just playing their part. You know, in The Little Soul in the Sun, or in, I can't remember if it was Energy Anatomy or Advanced Energy Anatomy, these souls come to help us. They come play their part for whatever we chose to experience here. And you know, in The Little Soul in the Sun, the little soul chose to be the light through forgiveness. Well, to do that, other souls had to step forward and be willing to come and do something that would need to be forgiven. And then ask them to try to remember who we are so we don't get lost. So they send more down for us or whatever, something like that. It was cute. And, you know, and Carolyn Mace talks about, you know, Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. And if everyone didn't play his part, he couldn't have done what he agreed to do. So when I started looking at life more that way, it got a lot easier to be grateful for those people, because those people made us who we are. They made us strong. They made us, you know, wise. They made us be able to stand up and be all we could be, no matter what. And so, yeah, at those moments it wasn't fun, but you know, once you can see, I mean, I got to a point where after my really bad car accident, I was, at some point, I actually seriously contemplated, but I decided it probably wasn't a good idea, but of sending a thank you note to the people, the people who slammed into me. Because yeah, it took me down, but what I went through because of that, you know, to hell and back, and what I learned along the way was so valuable, so amazing, that I never would have gotten to it, maybe any other way, I don't know. So all those experiences just add to how we can perceive things and how we live our lives. And you know, I got to walk in another person's shoes or moccasins and would say, and gain such insight into one of those people that wouldn't have made sense, that we're not what we're told they're supposed to be to us. And got to see what it was like and understand and go, oh my gosh, you know, what they went through, what they gave up to be there, to do this with me was tremendous. So yeah, it's difficult at times during those moments, but when I can remember, oh, they're just playing their part. And thank you. It does help. So that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. Linda or Henry, anything popping for you? Just jumping in the field here? Yeah.
Oh, Henry, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. Again. There you go.
Thank you. My microphone was betraying me for the moment. All that I had to say. So what this is reminding me a little bit is kind of an exercise with a Peruvian teacher where we were examining the Trinity, the victim, the perpetrator, and the rescuer, and all of those different roles that we step into that are not, all of them are not healthy. And actually I was just seeing that as like the Trinity, that people might think of. The perpetrator may be what we think of as the Father or the Divine Father in a certain way, and the rescuer as the Divine Mother, and the victim as the child, the wounded child. And ideally, it's learning how to step out of that by recognizing, as you were saying, Karen, of the, the gift of that, but stepping out of all of those patterns where we move from victim to perpetrator or to rescue, of trying to play one of those roles, and stepping and just realizing that those are all pieces, but going almost to a transcendent place with all of that, where we recognize our wholeness. And also with what Deb was saying, or I was thinking about the Bagua in Feng Shui as being an expression of wholeness, of a mandala, where we're trying in our homes and in our bodies and in our lives to have all of those different pieces in their more positive aspect of all of the different Baguas, or all of the different parts of ourself. And one of the templates that the woman who does a lot about the chakras, she says that the chakra system is one of the greatest mandalas or templates of wholeness, where we kind of claim and honor and cultivate all of the different levels of ourself. And through challenges, I know that I have learned compassion through challenges, where with others, another who was seeing me as a perpetrator, and then I ended up being a victim in that relationship because I felt like I should, be helpful, or so. So anyway, it's an interesting process and just opening as we go deeper into our resonance, and we're honored in our wholeness in circles like this, or in resonance circles, which creates an invitation to something deeper, where we're recognized, we're accepted, we are invited to give our authentic voice. So anyway, I think I'm complete.
So I think I know everyone here, except for maybe Deb. I'm Linda in Indiana. And I'm curious to know why this was a perfect time for me to pop on the call, Shell. I just popped on. Oh, it's perfect that you came in at this moment. Because I have no idea what you were talking about. And then we moved into balance and that yin yang, and I love the idea of the wholeness with the feng shui and the chakra system, and even the victim, abuser, perpetrator, rescuer, as its own wholeness. And then Tyhson brought back that you're talking about betrayal, and I was trying to put it all together. Like, where all of these threads are so beautiful in the connection field of threading our individual understanding of what's unfolding. And so the first feeling that I had when I came on, which was not at the beginning, I apologize, but was just being witnessed, and in that place, because we've all gone through gone through all of those stages: betrayal, abandonment, anger, frustration, car accidents. How do I live through this? And you reach a point where sometimes things are so out of balance in life that you have nothing left, literally nothing left. And so there's what I felt like was part of my soul that just stepped back and became witness to my life. And that was such a peaceful, and it still is, the most peaceful place of me, where and it is a practice, you know, not to get caught up in every drama that's happening everywhere, but to pull back and be witness, and in that witnessing, just holding it all in love, just holding it all, the yin yang, the black, the white, just everything about the pain and the joy, you know, the blessings and the tragedies. And I think at this point, we've had the connection field open for a month, maybe. I'm not sure. We've all lost track of time, but and I think it was you, Henry, that said, or maybe it was Tyhson. Sorry, we're all one here, so I can't remember who said what. That in the midst of this pain that we're seeing, and the tragedy, and the deaths, and the families suffering, is this goodness that's coming. It's pulling our natural capacity for compassion. It's stirring everything up, so it's coming forward. Whereas if everything had just been the same, and this pandemic had not landed on our planet all at once, where we all had to pay attention, we would still be going on this blind treadmill that was taking us nowhere. So I find the blessing in this pandemic, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it. But it has been a gift to stop everything, to slow down, to become more witness of our own lives. And I am not in a hurry for things to get back to normal. I agree with Tyhson. I don't think we know what our new normal is yet, although we have some visions of it. So, wow, I'm looking at the time and it's already 5 to 8. So I don't want to take up your time. I just want to presence myself and thank you. And let Shelley tie it all together and tell me why am I here?
No, actually, it's Tyhson and I co-host this call, and but we're all fully fit players in this field. I just want to check in with Tyhson before I say anything. You want to add anything or say anything, or?
No, I love what everybody's saying about the role of being the witness, and the detached but compassionate Buddha perspective on what's happening, that is perfect the way it is, even though it's highly dramatic and overwhelming, it's still perfect. And to hold all that in balance, right, and be okay with that is really something we're being asked to do. And the more we can do that, I think the more we can allow other people to experience this. And that's why this group, for me, is so powerful, is that we get to dwell in this crucible, to be supported in this unity of wholeness and experience what the collective resonant field feels like when we surrender our individualness to join the vibration that's emerging. And it, to me, it's luscious. It's I love for more people to have this experience of just coming here, speaking your truth, and just feeling the beauty of it. There's a term in one of the books called grokking it, right? I can't find an interpretation of what grokking it means, but full body juiciness of feeling, experiencing, dwelling beingness that can come from being in a group like this that understands that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That's the best I can do. Oh, that's it for now.
I was thinking of the word humaning. You said grokking? I never heard of that. But what popped in my head was humaning.
It comes from a book called Stranger in a Strange Land by Robert Heinlein. And and humaning, in my experience of the both of them, is humaning is the process of evolution moving through us, supporting this recalibration of who we truly are, so that we can be that fullness. Whereas I think rocking is more the experience of the field, literally. I mean, to me, rocking it was a term used in this book, and it was that space of that unitive consciousness in which when you say, oh, I rock that, or, you know, it's like that moment, that experience of getting it. You get the actual experience of this whole worldview. You get it. You embody it. It's a term that you would. It's an expression of embodiment. Actually, is pretty much. I think Henry's nodding. So
it's also an expression of just total understanding, like you
total
really
understanding.
get.
Yeah, and I'm going for the luscious emotions, a part of that as well, right?
So, okay, I keep feeling really driven, because I mean, this is, you know, beautiful. And I think all of us have these very wide expanse of experiences and expressions. And we've been doing all different aspects of ceremony in some way, right? Whether it's feng shui, or whether it's dowsing, or, you know, whether it's crystalline light, or whether it's, you know, dancing around a fire or playing music. I'm kind of looking at this beautiful tapestry of energies here, right? Or Reiki, or so I would just like to invite everyone to now, like, it's like we kind of got it for ourselves, and to invite us to really feel into the body, the emotional body of those on the planet, like those that we might know. Like, I'm thinking of my brothers that are really stuck in blame and shame, and you know, this emotional body of the earth. You know, like, if we were asking the field, where does our attention our collective attention tonight, just tonight, need to go, with all the experiences that we've had as healers of some sort, because we are all healers here. You know, where is it? Is it a place? Is it a body of water? Is it, and maybe it's more than one place, but I'm just kind of feeling, or is it an aspect, like if we feel into our own bodies, you know, connected fully to the earth, to the deep root system, you know, like, because both Tyson and I were feeling that, there's something calling for us tonight. And it started out with betrayal, and I'm not saying that's it, but the sense of what I would feel like is where it's not luminescent, you know, where let's play here in a way that we can support, like, as an example, like, you know, when I feel into the land around Standing Rock, you know, and all that happened there, and all that evolved there, and all that's still happening there around the water and the river. Or maybe it's a place near you. Or then I'm thinking about when we're doing the dowsing consortium, when we were really focused on this piece of land and this energy in Massachusetts, where there was this possibility of recovering 500 acres to be saved and preserved, and what was happening in that realm, and what we did as dowsers and as healers. And eventually that land got saved, but not in the way that, you know, we just held the space for it. So just to kind of deepen into your own body, and in terms of the designing intelligence, and why this actual particular group came together tonight to charge our own energy bodies, to amplify the earth, or to bring our love, bring this energy that we've been talking about, this balance. And we each have our gifts. But just see if anything's like communing with us in terms of, hey, come on over here. That maybe some of the aspects that have been brought up here tonight in terms of balance and betrayal and, dark and light and I do keep seeing those two wolves. For me, it was two red foxes that were sitting in the road. But maybe like, who do we need to call in? What aspect of nature or the elementals or, that we can invite into this circle tonight to support a person or a place or a situation. And that we, as a collective, can come together and whatever it is, like bring sound, maybe do the chord of atonement, which, like maybe we get to infuse the field with our gifts here tonight. So I don't know, that was coming, through me, just, to just kind of like, just like a geyser, just like bring that energy up and surround. So I don't know, if anyone's getting anything from that, but I trust the field because always someone's going to pop the exact right thing. If it's not all of us, it will be someone in the field to, really exercise our capacities here. So I'm complete.
So where I am is kind of a concept that came up in the lounge today. And it's called mutual awakening. And I think the term comes from Patricia Alby or something related to evolutionary relationships. But I haven't really read much. I got her book and I wasn't able to get into it. But I was in a conversation with Nahid, and I was just getting some deeper understandings from those two words together, that it may be about mutual awakening, and by just being our presence here as a group or with another person is kind of opening to that mutual awakening through the interaction. And for me, I got an image while Nahid and I were talking, was of two children in a pool, in a small pool, and one of them playfully splashes the other, and then the other splashes back. And that to me was a little bit of a metaphor for mutual awakening, and which led to something, some really fun activity. So in a sense, we here are splashing the group, or we're splashing one another, and what one person says, gets a little of the droplets on other people, and there is a mutual awakening that's happening. I can feel it now, and that's what this is all about in a certain way. And if we can just be present with others, or energetically, maybe in meditation, open to that place, that in compassion, or just really being fully present with others who are being challenged or are not grokking it yet, who are not having the aha experience. When Archimedes grokked it and he ran out naked into the streets, after that aha experience, that he finally understood something. And so it's opening to the splashes, and in gratitude, and even to the challenging ones of being a victim, feeling in any of those roles. So anyway, so I'm just putting a plug in for mutual awakening. And I feel that energetically as I'm seeing people here and nodding that's in a sense what we are about. And so my next book, I'm going to title it Splashing. And that's a big feat because I don't have any other books yet. And I'm complete.
Hi, Deborah here. I totally agree with you, Henry. And I've been involved in feng shui for, I guess, more than 20 years and 25 years. And we're disciplined to not mess is the word that comes to my mind, but to not get involved with other people's lives when they don't request it or ask you, invite you in. And so when I hear you, Shelley, talk about helping others or your brother, or, you know, I have a sister who's kind of out in left field too. I feel really strongly not to do that, because I think every person is invited, is allowed to have their own experience, and we don't know what each person, each soul is needing to have in order to move into the next level for themselves. And so I really like what you said, Henry, because it's about splashing us and the, what is it, 7 of us making a difference. And if we just, I strongly believe if I just make a difference and make a shift within myself, because we're all one, that makes a shift on the planet. And each one of us does that individually. We make a shift on the planet. And when you talk about the two splashing, in a way, it's really us. It's like our left hand splashing and our right hand splashing. It's still us here, whether it's me, myself, or I. It's still me here. And what's showing up for me is for me to be as in grace as I can about it, and loving myself as best I can, whether I'm experiencing betrayal or out of balance or whatever it is. Just keep holding myself, loving myself. And I personally believe that if I do that, then I'm doing great things for the planet, because just one person, in some ways, everything I've been taught is there's nobody else but each one of us here anyway. It's kind of an illusion, whether it's a hologram or whatever. So, you know, we are God in so many ways. So I believe that if I just work and take care of myself and love myself and do the very best I can, that's enough. And I feel privileged to be able to be here with all of you, open-minded, open spirit, open soul, desiring to make the world a better place. I mean, that feeds me to know that there's other people on the planet that are also in the same desire. And I do believe in when 2 or more are gathered together, it's more powerful. I mean, I totally think that happens. So, you know, I thank you, Henry, for saying what you said, because I really align with that. And, you know, it just could be something really eeny beeny that's enough to make a shift. It doesn't have to be a big splash. Thank you. I'm complete.
I love that image of the splashing, and that we're splashing on each other. And then I thought of the coronavirus. It's like, oh, it's splashing. That's how it's getting around. It's splashing on each other. So, but we're more contagious. Love is more contagious than any dis-ease. Yeah, I love that. I'm just adding that into our tapestry here. Splash away, friends.
I'm sort of still stuck with Shelley and her brother. So
should I add my brother in there too?
yeah, and my daughter-in-law and all those that are really trying to figure this out when there's really nothing to figure out, which is easy enough for me to say. Anyway, I'm going to tell what I was told by a sound healer that really helped me settle down, and I'll see if I can do justice to it. We were in the kitchen and she was making some exquisite food and we were having this conversation. I was working with her best friend who was helping me work through things, and she just turned around and said, well, I just want you to stop trying to figure all this out and imagine yourself that there's an angelic part of your being. You can call it your higher self or you can call it your guardian angel. And just imagine that you're standing there and this huge, huge angel is just bringing its wings around you and holding you close into its body with its wings. And it's telling your little, your inner child that it's okay. We've got this all under control, that I'm your higher self or I'm your guardian angel, and you could just relax now. And I understand how difficult it was to try and run the show when really you just want to be the inner child and play and sing and dance and just be one with all that is. And I just want you to know that as your guardian angel, your higher self, I'm letting you do that because I'm here to run the show. And I don't know why, but for me, that was just such an incredible relief to know that there was another part of myself that was going to take over this part of me that felt maybe betrayed or lost or misunderstood or troubled, or I needed to figure something out, or I couldn't get it right, or whatever it was. And so why can't we do that for our loved ones? Why can't we bring down their guardian angel in our mind's eye in a circle of us doing it for our little ones and calm everything down in a circle of angelic beings who from their higher selves embrace the lower beings that are in so much fear and trembling because they don't know what to do, and just calm it all down. Just calm it all down. Anyway, that's what's coming to me. I'm complete. Then I think we should sing and dance.
I'm really grateful for this. And I love how the field just pops. And, it's really true. I've grown up in a world where it's been so much of what are you doing now? What are you going to do next? What are you doing? And doing a lot. And yet this experience, and really profoundly in the connection field, because it's just like rolling waves in a way that I've never experienced it before. But it's like you see how much that designing intelligence has it covered. Like I could never put together the level of, well, for just right now, the level of magic that happens, that's happening for each and every person. I'm having the opportunity to watch. So this is like really good for me because I'm having the opportunity to watch so many people be, it's the best way to put it, is infected with the love. Like Debbie was sharing, and just all we have to do is just hold the field of love. All we have to do is allow that permeating presence to become the attractor field for someone who's just ready, and create the, it's just like, and it's interesting because even with the dowsing, I've had to like really come into understanding that all I have to do is relax into it. and whatever you want to call it, higher consciousness or guardian angels. And I love playing with the angels. I love calling them in. I love, playing with the elementals and water and, and the understanding of water. So I'm just feeling really grateful. And so in terms of these beautiful pieces that have come for each one from this beautiful tapestry, mutual awakening and, the playful splashing and this understanding that there is the only pressure that's happening is the pressure I create on myself. And so I really feel it's a really interesting experience. I just have to own it. It's a really interesting experience, coming from the Dowsing Consortium and Tyhson, and we're enacting, we're engaging, ultimately it's about being in the love, but we each one have beautiful gifts. And I think rather than even the word skills, it's like we all have beautiful gifts that we've been given to support someone's passageway or pathway to, back to loving themselves. And ultimately, what else is there, really? Because that's the first thing that's gonna heal everything. But anyway, I'm just feeling really grateful, and it feels like very sparkly to me right now, just like really sparkly. And maybe that's that splashing. We're getting splashed. It's just that new information splashing us. So yeah, that's all I have to say, and I pass it out into this field of. And what came to me was, as I was listening to each one of you, is it's like the joy of sitting in that field of potentiality, where the newness can happen and the new information can come in, and we can be in, I still prefer this word, in that delightment, that we get all gotten so caught up in the enlightenment journey, but this delightment and I think that's maybe what tonight is all about. And sometimes, sometimes I feel like I'm being used as a conduit, not actually aligned with what I actually feel, but it's like, here, go play this part and see what pops, and even in the Monday call, sometimes there have been situations where I was felt like I would put in a certain quote, and it wasn't actually what I believed, but it triggered, it opened up the field, it opened it up. So I'm just grateful for tonight, and thank you. And I pass the talking stick, the talking crystal. Actually, I'm holding this crystal, this beautiful ammonite skull, actually.
And from the last splash, what came to mind for me and to heart, and before I was exploring a being on the other end of the spectrum of doing, but what I was feeling here is that being and doing is happening here right now simultaneously. Certainly I'm not leaving out actions, and more physical actions in that, but on a certain level, there was a lot of activity that grew out of, our willingness to be present here in the pool.
I really hear you, Henry. And I think that, as we were talking, there's probably several groups like this meeting. How many people, everyone wants world peace, but we all feel so helpless of being able to do anything about it. But when we gather in circles like this, and we feel that when we send out the vibe of maybe we can trust one another, that it's safe to trust again, and the betrayal goes away, the intolerance goes away, when I know that it's safe to be me. And Thank you for splashing on me. I loved a great dialogue. Passing, talking with Ellie. I don't have anything. Paperweight.
I think in this state of grace that we allow ourselves to arrive in, it all becomes effortless. And as Baba Ram's Dass says, there's nowhere to go and nothing to do. But the doing is happening. Like people said, there's so much doing or becoming, or however you want to describe it, out of the ineffable nothing or everything, depending on how you want to look at it. The world is changing by us just dwelling and being in that state of grace. And I don't know about you, but every time I allow myself to be there, it's just like luscious. Who doesn't want to be there, right? Who doesn't want to just surrender and let it be? Knowing that it's going to be okay. We're on track. There's nowhere to go and nothing to do. Just show up. Be present, fully present.
Yeah, thank you. I'm really happy that I popped in tonight. Lucky me. Lucky us. That's the fun of it, and that's the beauty of it. And there's always something that miraculous happens that, as each day goes by, it's like, wow, my family, this is my family. And much different from our, birth family, brothers and sisters and people who are, wherever they are. But I'm loving this field. And I think that just the image of splashing and sprinkling water, I mean, it's springtime and flowers can't grow unless there's little sprinkles of rain. So we're just, helping the field, the seeds.
And baptism, the splashing of water, right? The anointing, the baptism. You get a little Christian mystical here from that.
Yeah. Or the mikvah, in Judaism, it's the cleansing.
Yes, exactly.
In the waters.
Yeah, or the baptism of water, right? And now we're going to experience the baptism of fire.
When Shelley had asked to allow an image, one of the elements to come forward, seems like it was the splashing water and the fire and the burning away of our old stuff. Mm-hmm. And the air that we breathe, it's all there. So I'm actually rather happy that the stay-at-home order is continuing. That's just my take on it. Because I think we have more to do. And I don't want to be distracted. I want to stay in this as much as possible. Because it's nourishment. It's just feeding our soul. And I love that image of picturing someone with the angel wings around them. And I immediately covered the White House and the Capitol building. It's just like, they need some love.
Love.
It's a sin in that love. Wrapping them up.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like Henry's going to speak, so I'm complete.
And if I might, to take a couple droplets of the energy from the circle, my son and his wife just welcomed a new arrival last night.
Wow.
And
congratulations.
Hey.
And actually they're still working on getting the final name together.
I was just going to say, what's the name? What do you name a child coming through now? Wow.
Yeah, so they're working on it. It's in process, and I invited, or not invited, I offered to to some help with that because, I said I was intuitive and they're not able to, I suggested to my son to just go out for a walk by some trees. That's how I came up with his name, is while I was outdoors walking. But he can't leave the room where they are. They were able to all stay together last night, but he can't go out. So anyway, so I offered a little help. And I also said was to pick the name that is the one that connects most with the heart, with his wife and his heart. And, so I was offering different suggestions and I did kind of tune in and go for a walk for him. But anyway, I just want to let go, but I just wanted to connect their energy with, to maybe draw a little bit for their final decision. And,
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
Boy.
Well, how beautiful that child decided to come in at this time. Because I would say that, there's the children that are coming in, and we all, many of us know this, but yeah, I think it's really, what a beautiful thing to bring into the circle and the splashing, and it makes me think about just like what's new on the planet and just shifting the attention to what new sprouts, so it's springtime, or, what new sprouts are sprouting and how beautiful that is, and the flowers. And I love that little girl's name today was Meadow, and Hannah Ray, the two little girls who were playing drum. I don't know if you saw them. Wow. Well, I just feel like we're just in this amazing, sweet space, and I really feel grateful. I feel it's like the nectar. I feel like that tasting that nectar tonight from each one of you, and thank you, each one of you, and for helping to bring me back out of that space of just doing. I think even my eyes were tired tonight, but I feel like my heart has been warmed by your love and by your knowing, and so I'm really grateful. And so we've come to the hour, and I think first it'd be really beautiful if we each just dropped a word as a droplet of that water into the space, and then does anyone feel inspired to close? I don't know, Tyhson, that can be you too, or but let's just drop a word in, just something that we're just jump in.
I have a few words. I'll try to keep it to one word, but
Okay.
there's a divine mother energy called darkness to joy light, and I just love that concept. Darkness to joy light. Okay. And to me, this is the edge of the cliff that we've been talking about, infinite darkness that we can transform into, eternal joy. What a blessing. What an opportunity. It's like we get to play with the cosmic energy and rearrange it. We can be the alchemist. What sort of world do we want to create? How do we want to manifest and birth a new earth? And what's it going to look like? And I'm excited. We're going to be earth doulas.
A gathering of human Jonathan Livingston seagulls.
Exactly.
Obviously, you don't have to keep it to one word.
Yeah, I'm going.
Watch me, baby.
Well, you say John Livingston seagull, and then I think of the splashing, and I think of the birds in my bird bath in the morning when I put fresh water, and they all just get in there and they just start flapping their wings, and they flap it on each other and they're flapping on themselves.
That's
You
my
said
word.
words. What came to me was 2 words: grace and gratitude. And thank you, because what you said, Shelley, about the doing all day and tired, that's where I am right now. So it was so nice to step into this. And then in less than half an hour now, it's time with Linda.
I was going to say that.
I'm sorry I didn't have my internet for you last night, but that's what replays are for.
You have your beads, you can do it. You certainly can do it without me.
Yeah, I think I finally got it down now. Really good.
You can help tutor Shelley.
Gum, gum, bubble gum.
Actually, I would say that my
Now I can't do it. I was doing it on and off today. It just kept coming, and it was really great because it kind of cleared my mind of all the other stuff going on to just be doing that. It just happened and started up. So
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Namaha.
So my word popped up of joy, and I'm going to leave this splashing of joy, and I love you all, but I'm going to prepare for the next.
Yes. So just, I'll tell them about what Tyhson, he probably doesn't know. But yes,
I'd like to say, though, how beautiful you look on those calls, Linda. And it's just something. It's just beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you. It feels great.
Creates amazing sacred space. Yes. All right. Mwah. Love you.
See y'all later.
Bye.
Okay.
In a little bit.
Thank you. It was great.
Behind you.
Perfect.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Much gratitude.
If I had one word to say, I would say powerful.
Powerful. Yum. My one word is yum.
Yum.
Wow. Go ahead, Henry. What were you saying?
Appreciation.
Appreciation. Yeah.
Yes, you got it. Appreciation.
So we never know what's going to happen on this call, and it's really clearing away for me a lot of ideas or expectations or anything. Like it's just you really, everyone just brought in such a lightness of being, in the midst of everything, and I appreciate it and feel like, and I what I'm leaving with is just really just show up and be fully present. Like this is a practice in that. Just show up and be fully present, and we'll see what happens. So thank you for that. I appreciate you all. And Henry, why don't you tone us out?
Henry's moving.
Henry, you're always ready.
Yeah, I'm moving in a few days.
Oh, Henry, I'm flying to Colorado.
Oh, you are? Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'll show you my new place. So I just invite people to imagine that you're in that pool with children or with your child self, and you're gently splashing around. Make sounds. Have a beautiful night.
Thank you all. Thank you so much for showing up. What a beautiful evening. Tyhson, amazing. I love you. Thank you. It's so fun to play in the pool with you, Tyson.
Yeah,
Poor Charlie. If you're watching this, Charlie, you missed out on splashing in the pool.
All right.
We love
Bye.
you all. Thank you so much. Bye for now.